Hi and welcome back. My name is Marta and today I wanted to share my 2026 book bingo and also do the first update for the first quarter of 2026. I meant to just do one video showing the bingo and then do updates as I went, but I haven't done that, and so we're combining the first two, and then I'm hoping to do one halfway through the year and then, third quarter and all of that. So at the start of this year, or at the end of the previous, more like, I prepared this 4x4 bingo board with all of the little things that I wanted to accomplish with my reading this year. I decided to do that instead of creating any number goals, although you will see there are some numbers in my bingo board. But I didn't want to have a number of books I wanted to read in a year. I didn't want to commit myself to too many long year challenges that I end up just not prioritizing. In previous years, I've done the buzzword reading challenge, both the title and the cover ones, and I've joined the story graph challenges, which is where I track my reading, and just all sorts. I've also tried to do the A to Z challenge, and it ends up being too much. I don't read that many books to be able to have that many challenges on the go at the same time. In the past few years, I've read between 35 and 50-ish books, and once you take into account the both buzzwords, that's already 24 books. So it's really eating up into my reading for the year. And for a couple of years now, I've been just wanting to read what I want and focus on just having the most fun, finding the most joy, and also learning, just reading about things that I'm interested in and letting that guide what books I pick up. I often also just get swept up in something that is popular or wanting to participate in a readathon, but this year I decided this would be my focus. So just let me start showing you. I'm gonna go row by row. I have my computer here looking at the board, so I'll look down for that. But with the first row, I guess I'll be putting them here, whatever works better. So starting with the first square is one that I'm really excited about, as I am with all of them, but this one is to read a friend's favorite. I'm always really excited to take and give recommendations, and honestly, if one of my friends speaks passionately about something, that is often reason enough for me to want to pick it up. But I wanted to actually make it a priority and make sure I did it at least for one of my friends. I'd love to do multiple, but this is in here and this hasn't been completed yet. And then you'll see there are 4 goals out of the 16 that are kind of community focused, and a friend's favorite is one of them. Or maybe not community, but just their squares about connecting with others around reading. And then 4 squares like this next one are just 4 specific books that I picked for this year. This is Maggie O'Farrell's Land, which is coming out in June, I believe, end of June. And I've loved Hamnet and The Marriage Portrait by Maggie O'Farrell, and I'm just really excited to pick up her next release. I'm not one to be super on top of new releases, but every year there are a handful that catch my eye, and this is one of them. And so that's a goal to complete in the second half of the year when this is actually out. The third one is 10% written in Catalan or Spanish. So Catalan is my first language. Spanish is a close second. I grew up bilingual. But in past few years, well, a good amount of years now, reading in English has been taking more and more of my yearly reading, in part because that's the book community that I'm the most immersed in. Those are the releases that I follow, and I realized I really stopped reading Catalan and Spanish authors, and in the past few years, whatever books I had read in these languages had actually been translations from other languages that I don't read, say like Swedish or Japanese or whatever it was. And I wanted to make it a goal of mine and a focus to actually read some, at least, authors in Catalan or Spanish, and that's why the goal is specifically written in those languages, because it's not only about reading in that language, it's about reading those languages' authors, if that makes sense. I don't mind for Callan, of course they're going to be from here, but for Spanish authors, I don't really mind them being from Spain, just written in Spanish language, so they could be from South and Central America as well. And yeah, I've been doing really well. I know 10% is not a lofty goal, but because I had been barely reading any at all, I wanted to start with something that felt doable. I've picked up, I think, 3 so far this year, 2 or 3, and one of them especially I was so glad to get to, which was When I Sing Mountains Dance by Irene Sola, which I feel like I'm the last Catalan person to have read, but that was so good and I'm so happy I finally picked it up. And next is a fiction non-fiction pair. I've been wanting to, in general, move my reading and my like content consuming in a direction where it feels more, not more unified, like it's not that I want to be reading the same thing a lot, is more that I want to find connections, be able to draw connections in between the things that I read and I watch, essentially to tackle certain themes and ideas through multiple streams or from multiple sources, if that makes sense. And one way to do this was to read a fiction and a non-fiction book that had some thematic link that helped me have 2 outlooks or like 2 variants of one same thing. I'm saying that in a really convoluted way. I feel like it's a pretty simple idea. I haven't done that yet, but I was aiming to. I read Endling by Maria Reva, and then I wanted to pick up either one of 2 non-fiction books about Ukraine, and I didn't do that right away, and now I'm still interested in those non-fiction books. I just feel like I would be making the most of it by reading the fiction and non-fiction in close succession, and now that I haven't done that, it feels a bit like a missed opportunity. And if I do get to those reads, now I'm wondering, should I actually count it for this square, or should I make a point to read them close to one another and then I'll count it for something else? So I'm not sure yet. But yeah, so that was Endling by Maria Reva, and then the 2 non-fictions were Night Train to Odessa and The Russo-Ukrainian War. I don't remember the authors, but I'll put them up. Next, another one I'm very excited about. This isn't about reading, but it's to watch 3 anticipated adaptations. And when I wrote down this square, I was thinking of 3 films specifically. I've watched 2 of them already. They were Hamnet, directed by Chloe Zhao, and the adaptation of People We Meet on Vacation. I actually read that early, like in January, so I would be able to watch the film that came out in February, I'm pretty sure, or maybe end of January. Never mind. Now, to actually tick this square off, I'm gonna have to wait until November when the film adaptation of Sunrise on the Reaping by Suzanne Collins comes out. I actually just watched the new trailer today. It's 2 minutes 25 and had me in tears by the end of it, so it doesn't bode well for my cinema experience, but I am really, really excited about it. But yeah, that'll be it. Then we have a new 5-star. This means a new, like not a reread, and also I meant it to be a novel, like a new 5-star, a new fiction 5-star essentially. This has already happened, which I'm so happy about because I had been in such a drought, and it took me by surprise, and it was Hard to Lover by Lily King. I'm aiming to do a women's prize video in, I guess it will be still like over a month until I post it, if I complete it. But it was amazing, so emotional, made me cry. Yeah, so happy about this. Next, again, this like community connecting type square is just to do a buddy read. I've done those the past couple of years at least once, and I just wanted to put it in here to make sure that I do it again. Haven't done so yet, but excited. And the one after is another just specific book. This is to read The Two Towers by J.R.R. Tolkien, because I read The Fellowship of the Ring a couple of years ago through audio. It was great. I want to keep listening to the audiobook try the one by Andy Serkis this time, and yeah, I love the films. They are just so great, and kind of can't believe I've never read the books. Well, I haven't finished the trilogy, so this is on here to make sure at least I progress one more book into it. In the third row, to start with, we have read a book in French, or lire un livre en français. I've been wanting to improve my French as of a couple of years now, and I haven't really done much to actually complete that thing that I'm aiming for. But I'm feeling pretty capable of reading a book in French, something easier, contemporary, or rereading a book I've already read in another language, reading in French. I haven't made any progress on this yet, but I'm keen to. I actually is something that I actively want to do this year and move towards a B2, you know? That's a dream, at least. Next, simple, reread a book. Haven't done so yet. There are myriad of things I could reread, but I'll pick one at some point. I was actually inspired by Marcella from Marcella in the Margins, because she did a rereading type readathon at the very start of the year for January, and I meant to join that and then didn't, but she still got me, she had a little bingo board and she still got me to think about things that I might want to reread that aren't just like straight favorites that come to mind first. So I do have some ideas floating around, just haven't committed to anything. Next, another book square. This one I've already completed, which is reading The Matcha by Robin Hobb, the second one in the Life Ship Trader series. I was so glad to actually have picked this up early in the year. I wasn't super keen on it. I was, because I love Robin Hobb. I love this series. I so want to keep reading into the realm of the Elderlings, but this book was 900 pages. That's 3 times just an average book that I read, and I knew it was a big time commitment. I haven't been reading a lot in tandem, like things at the same time, so I knew when I started this I was basically committing to one book for 3 weeks. But what I forgot is that once I'm reading it, I don't mind because it's so good, so it doesn't matter that I can't read anything else because I want to be reading this. So I did that and it was great and I was so happy. And finally in this row, an Australian book in Australia. I am going to Australia for one of my best friend's weddings and I'm so excited. And I basically just want to read a book by an Australian author while I'm there, because even though it's also English language books, I feel like I'm much more inundated by US especially and UK authors, and I'm not as familiar with Australian authors, and I thought it might be nice to do it while I was visiting. And now, finally, the final row. First, another book specific. This is Spring by Ali Smith, a little bit in the same vein as the past 2 specific books. This is a series I started years and years ago. It's not so much a series in that the plot continues over the books, but I've made it a point this year. It's a seasonal quartet. Each book has the title of one of the seasons, and every year it happens that I want to read spring during spring, then I don't, and so then I have to wait a whole year because I don't want to read it outside of the season, which is a completely arbitrary decision, but still is one that I'm standing by. And so I'm gonna read spring either this month in April or next month in May, because those are spring months. So I have a buddy read going on. I have a bit of a read along that I've proposed in one of the Discord servers I'm in, and as the person who instigated it, it's helping me be accountable. And I'm actually going to read spring and spring, and then I'm going to read summer and summer, even though that's not on my bingo board, and then I'm going to finish these series. I mean, I actually want to read it. Ali Smith is a phenomenal writer, but I need a bit of a push to actually do it. Next is a Gumption Club recommendation. Gumption Club is the Discord server I just mentioned. It's one of my favorite places in the whole of the internet, just full of such lovely people that I just feel like I can talk books and anything else with. And there are a few books that are just really beloved, especially from this past year and the year before, that loads of people have been reading and enjoying, and I just want to pick one of those and read it and just be able to join in the fun and discussion. And there are loads of people in there with whom I have in like reading interests and reading tastes in common, so I trust them to tell me what's good. Next, this one's the square that I'm the least happy with, and I'm actually thinking at some point during the year I will change it for something that is more fun. It's just to read 12 books. Honestly, I had filled out everything else and I needed one more square, and I thought 12 books was a fine number because that's the number of months in the year, but I'm so sure, well actually I have already read 12 books this year. Wait, I can cross that out. I hadn't even realised. But yeah, I'm crossing this out for now, but I'm probably gonna make it into a different square down the line. This final square is actually inspired by someone in the Gumption Club as well, and it's basically also related to what I was mentioning earlier of just reading and watching things around a theme or a set of ideas to just enrich the experience. And for this, I haven't decided if I just want to pick a theme and intersperse some of those books during a season, or if I just want to set aside a month, say, in the year and really focus and delve into that. What I've done so far is just like write down some themes that I'm interested in and some books that might fit into those themes. One of them is just reading about sisters or siblings, because that's something I always enjoy, and I feel like doing so in different genres, like reading maybe non-fiction as well, would be fun and also interesting. And then the other one that I wrote down is a lot more broad, but it's language, moving, as in like moving countries, and then home away from home, which all just comes together, this idea of like displacement in the modern age and how like language is a factor into that, and how you build a home away from the home you've known. And again, I have some random ideas. I'll maybe show you. These are like siblings books that I'm interested in, and those are them. And then these are like language, moving, home away from home books that I am interested in as well. And that is my 2026 book bingo. So as I've said, 3 months in, I've found a new 5-star, which I'm so happy about. I read The Mad Ship by Robin Hobb, and I've also finished 12 books. So this is what the board looks like. And yeah, I'll keep you updated. Thank you so much for joining me, for listening to me ramble, and I'll see you soon. Bye.